Namaste. Welcome to our 19th talk on the Bhagavad Gita. So, Krishna has talked about why he comes to earth and how those who know the purpose of his birth, which is the purpose of their own enlightenment, or at least their own instruction in the path to enlightenment, from then on, it's all up to them. And then he describes what they will ultimately become. These traits I'm going to read, they're not prerequisites. Otherwise, none of us would be able to have ever started. But they are what is going to happen to us if we really persevere and are going about it in the right manner. So a lot of people, a little bit of meditation, a little bit of study, and they're God's gift to the world, and they are sages. But for those of us who aren't quite that crazy, Krishna gives us the idea of what we should expect us to become. Free from greed and desire. In other words, not thinking I want it, I've got to have it, etc., etc. You see, a person can think, yes, it would be good and intelligent for me to have this or that situation or that thing, and then just calmly go about getting it. Not like, see, we shouldn't be driven, we shouldn't be impelled. Our intelligence should always be in control. Now, advertisement is completely based on the idea of making us be animalistic and just responsive, like just to leap, I want it, and then you better get it now. Well, I grew up with radio, and the offer is going to expire soon. See, to get people to think, well, then I've got to hurry up and get what I want. But this isn't the way we will be, and actually, we should at least be somewhat free from these things he's going to describe even now. Free from obsessive desire, really. Fear. That's very important. Abhaya. Or bhaya is the word for fear. Abhaya is without fear. Religion especially runs on fear. And so also disciplines the higher thought, or even people pretend to be yogis, like, that's bad karma, you know. Well, when you're a fundamentalist, you said, that's a sin, and God will bring you into judgment. And now you say, that's bad karma, you know, and you're going to have to undergo its reaction. One is not wiser than the other. They're both stupid. The belief of rebirth and karma, that's intelligent. But this is a stupid misapplication of it. So nothing should move us either like I want it, I'll feel better about it, or I'll be happy knowing I own it. All of these compulsions have to go, and only intelligence remains. Now, we may have like, oh man, I really want that car, but at the same time, we may intelligently know that it's a very wise and good move to buy that car. So we go ahead and we buy the car. But under our intelligent aspect, we hope. So free from fear, not being threatened by anything or pushed by anything, not doing something because we're afraid not to, or not doing something because we're afraid we'll get in trouble if we do. And anger, which also implies hatred, hostility, and there's at least emotional violence, and hopefully no external violence, absorbed in me. Well, that means a yogi, and not just an ordinary yogi. It means an adept yogi, not a perfect yogi, but someone who has done enough practice that they are continually in touch with their own true self, because God is our own true self. And that's done only by japa, constant, constant repetition of a mantra whose very vibrations elevates our consciousness. And the ultimate, highest mantra is, of course, Soham, because the fruition of that mantra is the very realization it's expressing. Sa aham, I am that, and that being the transcendent God. Neither him nor her, but that. And of course, and again, it's through yoga. Oh, Arjuna, become a yogi. Holding fast to me. In other words, we do something about it. It isn't like, oh, I meditated this morning and things worked really well. And so now, la, 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 I'm just picking flowers like Little Red Riding Hood and going down the path of life. No, no. Also realizing, okay, I'm feeling at peace and things feel good and I'm optimistic, but I've got to keep hold of that japa, which which enlightens and purifies and also it cheers me or gives me peace. So that too is very important to realize the state we want, we've got to get there. And once we get there, we've got to hold on to it. So we hold fast to God. Well, we don't know God. So it is the mantra that's related to God. And we're told in the Brihad Aranyaka Upanishad that in the very beginning, the Parampurusha, the Supreme Being, said, Soham Asmi. I am Soham. So that's how we hold really fast so that we can grab after something and not quite reach it, or grab it and then it slips away from us. But this is reaching out, taking hold, and keeping it there. All right. Purified by knowledge-based tapasya. Tapasya means literally a generation of heat. It has the idea of how fire purifies and dissolves impurities. And yoga is the supreme method of tapasya. There's a lot of other gymnastics that people recommend. Oh, go on a fast, go on a water fast, you see, or do this or that. Torture of the body, really, or deprivation of the body. See, we'll give anything to the ego it wants, but oh, well, we have to learn how to control the body, so we say. That's the easy way, of course, and it's the worthless way that doesn't produce any genuine, worthwhile result. So our tapasya must be knowledge-based. That means we know Dharma, we know the principles of Dharma, and we act accordingly, and of course, supremely, we are a yogi. So then he says, many have attained my state of being. Many, not just only one or two, but many have attained. And they were human beings like us, so that's proof that we can attain. And we should be encouraged. But the people that don't want to really go to the goal, they, of course, will never be pleased. Yes. In whatever way men resort to me, do I thus reward them. In other words, there are many ways to try to elevate your mind, some more effective than others, yes, some more perhaps on target or more even intelligent than others. But even if a person does something mistaken, if their desire is to reach divine consciousness, that action creates enlightenment karma, you could call it. And it will result. If I believe that going like this brings me closer to God, and so I sit around for an hour or two a day going like that, it actually will have a good effect. That has no effect, but the putting forth of my will, the will is everything. And putting forth the will, I create that because I am myself divine and I am the ruler of the sphere of my life. And therefore, that force will come and move toward my enlightenment. So, in whatever way is done, I reward them. And the reward is God Himself. It says in the Bible, in Genesis, God said, I am your exceeding great reward. It is my path which men follow everywhere. Now they can follow wrongly, or they can follow going backwards. But the path is the path. We don't suddenly go out of this world. We die, we go to a higher world. Angelic beings come and talk and explain to us, and everything is nice and easy. And on we go without any effort. No. The path we're on, we just need to stop and say, well, I can go that way, I can go forward, I can go backward, I can go to the left, I can go to the right. What way will I go? Because there is nothing that is not the path. This is something very important. Sorry, I was processing in my mind about how intense an example I should give. Decided not to. Longing for success in action, in other means very much external karma. In this world, men sacrifice to the gods. The gods really exist, and you can please them or placate them and then get what you want from them. Various religions have various idea of the gods and so on. We don't need to go into that. Because, he says, success from such action is quickly attained in the human world. Because you're right here, right there. Even in India, we say, this deity likes this very much. Shiva likes a particular type of flower, for example. And various things are considered beloved. Ganapati, of course, he likes food. That's here, Ganapati. He likes ladus especially. In fact, they're shown right there and that. Sorry, my finger there at the top of my finger, ladus. And you can do that. You can make food offerings. You can make offerings of praises. And the deities do hear, they do respond. And so you can get what you want. There are people who engage in intense discipline directed toward God, and they attain what we call siddhis, which are like yoga powers. And they can do things, they can materialize things that they want. Or they can just set their mind on something and it happens. And this then is done. And of course, it's done in a very relative, I am one thing, that is another consciousness. So in the human world, that is quickly attained. It doesn't mean it's worthwhile doing, but it's quickly attained. Of course, quickly can be very relative. All right. Now suddenly we jump to a whole thing that seems to be another subject, though really it's talking about temperament. The fourfold caste was created by me based on guna, quality, and on karma. Excuse me, I want to make a mark. All right. Oh, no, not the caste system. Not caste. That's a terrible idea. Caste is a reality. What does the word mean to you and I? It's like to cast something away, to throw with E put on the end. In Sanskrit, the word is varna, and it's color. And it's according to the predominant color in your aura. But that's a whole other thing to go into. We don't need to bother with it. And we'll be coming to what not makes us of a particular caste, but what reveals we are of a caste, but not right now. So, this social system, which is a very sensible one, I'm not going to go into the trouble, take up your time discussing it or trying to prove it. It's real, it's good, it's wise. And the problem in India is it isn't being followed. Not that it has been followed. Now, distortions of that have been followed. And even, yes, used for oppression. But that's a corruption. So that you can't blame God, you can't blame the Shastras, the scriptures, on this, because your karma is based according to your samskaras that have been created by your karmas. It's your swabhava. It is the state of mind that's really yours, according to your conditioning, your previous life actions, and so on. And that reveals swadharma, the self right action that you should be doing according to that swabhava. We'll be getting to that more later. Though I am the creator thereof, know me to be the eternal non-durable, obviously. Otherwise, God would be as tainted as we are, and God would have karma and have to undergo it. We'd all be in the same basket together. So obviously, we say, well, but God creates. God, the Absolute, does not create. Ishvara creates. Ishvara is an individual being, someone who, through tapasya and sadhana, attains such a high state that he has the ability to create worlds. Now, think about that. What an incredible state that is compared to our present state. And that's someone who's just on the way. In fact, Ishvara can get tied up and bound by his actions. So, anyhow, thus it is. We can come up to that later. But this is the truth about Ishvara and us. Ishvara is God, but not the absolute God. Actions do not taint me. Well, it's because God doesn't do any actions. Nor is desire for actions fruit in me. Well, obviously, God has everything. So what's he going to want? I mean, it's obvious, but he needs to say this. Krishna needs to tell this to Arjuna, and therefore to us. He who thus comprehends me is not bound by actions. When we understand God is transcendent and beyond all this, then we'll understand I need to get beyond all this. I do need to do right action. I do need to do positive things. I do need to create positive karma for myself. But there's more even than that, and shoot for the top. But no, you won't get there by a single step. It can be quite a lengthy process. But that is what we are to be after. Knowing thus, the ancient seekers for liberation performed action. Do you therefore perform action as did the ancients in earlier times? And next, he's going to give a little bit more of an idea about that. And we have come to the end of our time. So thank you. I'm looking to see where the button is. So thank you very much. Until the next time.